What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lunch Break Podcast. This is a podcast where me and my buddy David here take our lunch break from work and we discuss things from, history, current events, whatever we want, whatever we find interesting and we don't hear enough of.
Shit that you most likely did not learn in school.
Yeah, no history class references here, all raw, new shit.
All raw. And you're about to find out why it's so raw.
David, so episode 1, what is it?
Episode 1, believe it or not, and I bet you never knew this, but prostitution built America.
Yeah? Oh, really?
Yeah. Without prostitutes, America wouldn't be what it was today.
Really? Well, how'd they do it?
Well, back in the day, there wasn't really towns as you would think in the old Hollywood films or whatever. It was just fucking 3 holes in the middle of the desert with some tents.
Work camps where men were working and just shitting in holes.
Shitting in holes, dying in holes, jerking off in holes.
Yeah. Didn't they used to have guys that would go around and show off panties for money?
Yeah, they would.
Before women came west.
Believe it or not, to me that was better than fucking snake oil, man.
Well, at least they were showing them something real.
You show up with some panties and you're like, hey, fellas, check this out.
I guess with the trends of used panties being sold on Craigslist, it really isn't all that different from today.
They've been doing it for hundreds of years, if you think about it.
That's where it started.
Dude,
that was the first...
It started back in the day.
It was probably even older than that, but that's the that's the first American version of...
Pretty much.
Of selling underwear for profit, women's underwear.
Men were so desperate that they would pay money to fucking jerk off to panties.
Well, can you blame them if there's no women for months on end? You're working your ass off. I mean, you still have moonshine. You're getting drunk. You're getting horny.
Your fucking cowboy buddy's starting to look really pretty. His hair's getting a little long.
And you're like, well, I need to go to the underwear tent and jerk off real quick. Come on, man. I'll pay you next week. I need another dose.
I can't do this again, Kyle. Yeah, we did this last week, man. Sooner or later, our friends are going to find out that we're blowing each other.
Yeah, I would be spending all my time in the underwear tent if I lived in that society. Okay, so let's fast forward a little. Women start coming out west. They start seeing these men jerking off to underwear. What do they think?
So they just start noticing these dudes paying money to jerk off to panties. And this one lady was just like, well, they're going to pay money to see panties. I'm going to show them my titties.
Imagine what they pay for this set of tits.
Exactly.
She's got fucking everything in her little corset that they used to wear. Everything's popping out nice. Yeah. And she's like, I could make some money with this
fucking next thing you know, she's pissing off the snake oil man and running him out of business.
Yeah, probably did pretty quick. Got the real thing. So women start realizing prostitution is profitable, or they see the opportunity and they start doing it and making money.
There wasn't a lot of jobs back then for women to do. I mean,
it probably wasn't a lot for men either. It was either work or prostitution or maybe serving a bar.
There wasn't even towns until prostitutes came to be. So after they started selling tricks, women became so profitable and wealthy that they started building churches, schools.
So they started developing this whole town around this brothel idea.
Yeah, they built a fucking town around a brothel.
Wow.
So you have an entire town built around some blowjobs and some sex.
It fast tracks development of society.
Exactly. So it's really fucking weird because if you think about it, sex built what we have today.
Yeah. So we live in the West, so we wouldn't be settled maybe the way we are today without women, brothels, sex, blowjobs.
Yeah, it's the Wild West for sure.
The women, man, you got to give them credit. They took their money and they used it, like you said, to build up all these other ventures.
They were smart.
They invested their money. I even read somewhere that one of them started a workers' comp insurance company, so when men would get hurt on the manual labor jobs, they could get paid out to stay afloat.
That same woman would even help, I believe it was in Colorado, she would even help sheltered victims.
Shelter, like domestic violence.
Domestic violence, yeah. So, I mean, just the mindset back then, think about it. So, you're a dude, and you're like, oh, I got some cash because I found some gold nuggets, or I did whatever.
Right.
I'm going to go pay for a blowjob. These women are like, I'm going to build a fucking church, or I'm going to help people.
With our money, we just want blowjobs. With their money, they're like, oh, we're going to put kids through college. We're going to do workers' comp insurance. We're going to help shelter victims, domestic
We're gonna put
violence
kids
victims.
through college. We're gonna do all of this with our money, and then us dudes are just like, dude,
Blowjob, please.
blowjob, please.
There.
Here you go. Take me to
Well,
your room.
Men have never been known to be all that smart when it comes to that kind of thing. We get led kind of by our desires, but it's goddamn lucky that women were around to think
I'm pretty sure that's
forward
where
for us.
thinking with your dick came from. Because I mean,
Probably exactly
honestly,
where it
like,
came from.
we would rather sleep in a tent and get some blowjobs and build a fucking house for
And look
ourselves.
at fucking underwear from a dude
Yeah,
with a little
like-
booth with women's underwear from back east.
We're a bunch of perverts throughout history.
It's classic male perversion, not getting us anywhere, and then women come along and help everything move forward.
Exactly. And it's all from sex.
All from sex.
Paid sex.
So it got so, crazy that the women were making so much money starting these businesses, becoming so wealthy and powerful that Wyoming even was the first state to allow women to vote. And this is before the states came together as a union.
Yeah.
So Wyoming, 50 years before any other state allows a woman to vote, is allowing women to vote because they're more powerful than most of the men
They
there.
held most of
They
the
have
money.
all the
there.
money. They have the
Power.
businesses. They got the power. And when the federal government's trying to bring all the states together, Wyoming even says the federal government doesn't want the women to vote, and Wyoming says, well, we're not joining the union unless our women can vote. That's how powerful it was.
Yeah, like
And
that's
so the
just-
federal government was like, okay, fuck it, you guys.
Fuck it. You guys are right.
So Wyoming,
say?
man, you wouldn't think of that as a progressive state necessarily, but they were the most progressive state back in the day.
Could you imagine that they finally became a state, and the federal government, who didn't want them to become, or didn't want the women to vote, he goes up to a dude in Wyoming and he's like, "Hey, why do women have so much power here?"
Oh, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. You see, I go to First Street, the second floor. Beth gives the best blowjobs.
There's a hole in the wall. You stick your coins through this slot, and the magic happens. And we let them vote. This is the voting booth, actually. You
Think
stick your
about it.
vote right.
You don't let them vote, you get no blowjobs. What do you want, man? And he's like,
Well, here we go.
you got a damn good point. I
Women's
guess we're just
rights,
gonna
baby.
need women to vote.
Well, that's how the West was settled with women prostitutes. Now, today's age, prostitution's illegal. How'd that come about?
I want to know how prostitution became illegal today. We need to do that for another podcast in the
Yeah,
future.
that could be a whole nother podcast. I mean, still in Nevada,
There's only a handful of places.
mostly places that allow other
I think there's
illegal
a couple
stuff like
countries that allow it.
gambling.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, did a man is the one who decided to make it illegal?
I wouldn't put it past men. They get jealous of women.
He's like, well, now we got homes and places to sleep. Can't let the women get any more power.
Yeah, now that they gave us all this stuff, let's cut them off.
Yeah, let's cut them off. We need to gain our power back.
Well, I think that there should be a change to that.
there should be
We're
a
going to have
change
to
to it.
lead the push to make prostitution illegal.
Women
legal
should
again.
have the right to do it whatever they want with their body.
You would think. I don't see what the
I mean-
problem with it, aside from dangers outside of...
It might even be safer because today we have illegal prostitution and men still pay for
Yeah,
sex.
it's
to
still
this day.
happening. They're going out of their way to get it, so that's never going to stop.
That's never. It's just like the war on drugs. Like, people are gonna always find a way to do
Right,
drugs.
right.
Same with prostitution, except if I don't know. I'm not too. Well, I don't know a lot about it, but my thought process is if we made it legal, it might be safer because then they could set up unions and they can get health
Yeah,
care.
you would think they'd be able to do it up above board. It wouldn't be seedy
Knowing how smart
underground
they
shit.
are, they would make it into a
No
better
kidding.
thing than it is today.
Yeah.
And probably save a lot of women from the streets.
Well, let's get that on the ballot next year.
Yeah.
So,
But- We're men and we're dumb and we're probably like, fuck it. Keep it illegal because next thing you know, we're going to have fucking spaceships.
yeah, they were getting too powerful.
Yeah.
They would have been colonizing Mars. They probably would have colonized Mars with the brothel.
Oh, yeah. Would have been like, I had the first brothel on Mars. Men are flying up there to get blowjobs on Mars. They're like, never done this before.
Zero
bro.
gravity blowjobs in
Check-
space.
Check this out. We gotta go do it.
Well, so the West came to be through women, sex, blowjobs, titties.
Titties. Just dirty sex, man. Like,
I mean, the sex was the catalyst. The women with their brains was really what did it. But
yeah, and they took risks. Like, it was just, they had to worry about, they had drug abuse, domestic violence, diseases.
Oh yeah, but the diseases were just rampant out there.
Oh yeah, nobody took showers for days. Or, I mean, well, they didn't even, I don't even know if showers were a thing. I think it was more baths back then.
Yeah,
So,
probably just pouring water on yourself and sponge bathing, you know.
man, can you imagine that?
And then having sex 10 times a day or more.
The smell from that, I couldn't imagine.
I
But
don't even want to think about the smell.
I don't want to think about this. So,
Well, in today's age, it'd be a lot cleaner.
yeah, today's age, it would be a lot cleaner. You ever wonder if there was like a prostitute back in the day and she's like, check this out, I'm going to shave and charge them double.
Probably.
They were so smart. I bet you they at least have tiers or something, dude. Like 2 for 1 special.
Yeah. As the day wears on and they get a little more used.
Yeah. Like, well, I've had sex with 9 people today, so I'll tell you what.
The 10th one's 10% off.
10% off for the 10th one. Might be a little smelly, but you got to do with what you got to do.
Hey, a deal's a deal, man.
And you know there's going to be that dude who's waiting for that
Yeah.
10% off every
The guy
night.
that's a little down on his luck, doesn't have the cash. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh.
Ooh, I'll take that. Right up my alley.
Well, I mean, that's, like we said, that's the West being settled with sex. And this is the Lunch Break Podcast.
Lunch Break Podcast.
This is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about.
This is just a short video on our first intro into getting started, and hopefully our future podcast will be a little bit longer. And
What do you think we'll talk about next week?
next week, we're going to find out what kind of necrophiliac you are.
Oh, that might be
Yeah.
kind of interesting. I didn't know there was multiple types.
There's several different types of necrophiliacs. Even an I can't even say it.
Oh yeah, opportunistic necrophiliacs.
Opportunistic.
We'll find out more about that next week. This is the Lunch Break Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm David.
And thanks for listening.
Lunch break podcast.